Hey, what's up, guys? It's Stuff Designs. Back again doing another course review. Today we are looking at Motu Korowha. This one's done by Course Design HQ. This is another one of my subscribers. Uh, Looks like a very nice course from the picture. Uh, See if we got all our pins. We got 4 pins in here. Got 3 tees. Of course, we're doing back tees. And let's look at some of the course details, see if there's anything special. Fairways and greens are firm. Greens are fast. I haven't actually played on any fast greens in the new game yet, because the greens are already fast enough, so we'll see how that plays. In terms of the course distance, it's 7,200 yards, so nothing special. Let's get in and see what's out there.
Hello there, my name is John McCarthy, welcoming you to PGA Tour 2K23. I'm assuming you've brought your
All
A game
right,
today.
John, that's
Starting the
enough.
day off with a nice par
Let's see what we
4,
got here.
and let's go.
Oh, we got a whole island. Island maps are usually very, very nice and scenic. Seems like we've got our clubhouse slash driving range area over here. If I can get down to the boat. Looks like we've got a little drop-off area for this island, so it is completely waterlocked. Have to come off from another faraway island here. Pretty cool little detail. Nothing super special out here at the clubhouse. It does seem pretty far off course, so not a lot of decorating's really needed if it's this far off. Do have some little hole signs and bathrooms. Got what looks to be our putting and shipping area. A little bit more work into some of this area over here. I know it's not something players are going to see that often, but it does show a lot of care if you put some time and effort into these. Check out our driving range. Very simple driving range. You can tell all these are stock shapes. I would just do custom shapes for these the same way you would do like a green on your course or something. Same thing with just a little bit of care on these goes a long way. You don't have to spend a lot of time on these, but just putting some simple greens, maybe flattening out the greens, just doing simple stuff like that. Seems like we've got our little maintenance area right here. Again, with the same thing, just a little bit of care over here. You can see how it's not perfectly flat right here. Building's floating a little bit. Nothing super big. I do like that little area right there. Let's see if we got anything else big on the rest of the map. It seems like there are no other buildings or structures or anything. Seems like everything else is nature decorations with trees, rocks, and cliffs. See how these cliff sides are made. Seems like pretty simple. You used a jagged look on the cliff sides, which usually looks better. If you're going to do cliff sides, doing them with these really jagged shooting up edges is the nicest way to do it, especially if you're not going to put a lot of detail into them. Like, you can make cliff edges look really good by using a lot of rocks, but this is the easiest way to do nice looking cliffs. In terms of everywhere else, it doesn't really look like there's that much done. It seems like the same technique was done across all the cliff edges on the whole course. We'll see if anything else special comes into view. I do like how it isn't just one perfectly flat island, though. I like how we've got a big high point over here, and the whole course kind of bleeds down all the way down to this really, really low section down here in the course. I reckon let's just see how it plays. Let's look at the scorecard real quick, actually. So we got a 35-37. Not bad, no problem with that. We got 3 par 3s, and we got 5 par 3s in the course, so we have to have 5 par 5s as well. Very interesting. I do like that you separate it up. You have the 3 par 3s in the front and the 3 par 5s in the back. Let's see our distances in terms of our par 5s. 517, 606. So yeah, I like our distances. We've got one that isn't reachable, one that's definitely reachable, and all the rest of these are possibly reachable with good shots. In terms of our par 3 distances, we got a really long one, a fairly long one, a fairly long one, a pretty long one, and a short one. I do like all these. Maybe just one of these par 3s, either the 170 or the 180 or the 190. Maybe put it to like 150, just so you have the full range covered. Because I'll be hitting most likely the same club on both of these par 3s. And it seems like we have a couple drivable, at least one drivable par 4. And we have a couple of long par 4s. 495 seems to be the longest. All right, let's hit some shots. All right, coming out here into the fairways. Seems like we got a pretty sloped course out here. Going to be dealing with a lot. We got no light rough, which isn't an issue. Some designers don't like light rough on their courses, especially if you're going for a certain style, which appears that we've got a pretty nice put together style here. The bunkers, they are jagged edges, very jagged edged bunkers. We'll see how they actually play and look as we go on. But if you can keep this style up, it's probably a pretty good style to go with. It's just keeping this style consistent is going to be pretty difficult through the whole course, I would imagine. Decent little shot. I do like how you got this big feed up here that feeds everything off of the fairway. Makes you really have to put a fade into it or really think about it. I'm going to go to the green. I was curious about this bunker. The catch zones down here are a little small. Maybe make the bottom of the bunker a little bigger, because say I were to get a big kick off of right here, I could just roll straight through the bunker and end up down here in the heavy rough, which isn't really intended since it is a bunker. You kind of want it to catch shots. In terms of green movement, we got a lot of green movement here. Big catch here. But that actually isn't bad. I see what you're going for on this. This big area is going to feed players back over and into here. Do like this little bowl. I was talking in my last video about the 9 little squares around here. It is a little bit too yellow over here, but it is a helper slope, so it's not the worst. Looks like we got a pin position here, pin positions here, and maybe one up here. These are fast greens, so I don't actually know if you really could pin any of this. Because with a yellow here and then a yellow falling down as well, getting any shots to hold anywhere in here is going to be extremely difficult. Green's not bad. Just as I said, with the fast green speed, you have to be a little careful. I'd have to actually play these pin positions to see how it would work, but I'd imagine those aren't the best pin positions. And that wasn't the best shot either.
This is our third shot.
Neither was that. Starting off hot. And I think this is, yeah, it's just a little too close to this slope. If you move this pin maybe 2 feet over this way, it would be great. It's just a little too close to the slope up here. Can already feel the fast greens coming into effect. I haven't played on them much at all.
And 2 strokes above par currently. And teeing it up.
So far your sight lines are very nice. hole number 1 and hole number 2 sight lines are very nice. This one I like a lot. How you got this bunker that kind of splits the fairway sight line. You have the big landing zone, and then you have your little green up here. I really like that. In terms of your bunkers, I do like the bunkers. You're keeping the style consistent. I am going to continuously kind of check those depths and runoff areas just to kind of make sure they're all looking nice. Overall, I do like the bunkers. I know a lot of designers like these big wavy fairways. I've never been a fan of them, but I know it's a big style for the links type courses to have these wavy fairways like this. If I'm correct, this is just where you put a fairway down and you really don't come in here and flatten out the fairway too much. You just kind of leave it with the natural contours. Coming up here to the green, we've got another heavy slope greens. I'm just worried about how big the slopes are on these greens with it being paired with the fast green style. I feel like if these greens were brought down to like the medium green speed, it would be a lot better just because of how slopey they are. We'll see how they look as we keep going on the course, but right now they're just probably playing a little too fast. Like that we got an uphill shot here, a long one too. It is a very short. Oh yeah, this is the short par 5. This is the really short one, the always reachable one. So we need to score here. What's gonna have to hold on.
This one's going left.
Not bad. Yeah, those fast greens, man, that ball just does not stop rolling. It keeps going. In terms of your tiers, you got 1 pin here, 2 pin here, and maybe a third one here. Not bad. See how this slope is really consistent on this side? I would also keep it consistent over here because the ball might be able to hold right here. And I think if you're going to have a slope back here, you probably want it just to encompass the whole top part of this green. Because it would really suck if you hit your shot up into this slope and have it come up and catch right here.
Nice tempo on that.
Got a birdie?
Nice.
Not bad.
Easy. Well done. And you're sitting at 1 over for the round.
So far, I'm really liking the course. The aesthetics are very nice. All right, coming up here to the next hole. Seems like we've got probably 3 more pin positions on this one. Seems like we have a front one right here, probably a middle one right here where this one is, and one down here. You might tuck one. I don't think you can tuck one right there. Not with this hole. Be a little bit too aggressive. I like this green a lot. One thing it's kind of like a small thing. It's just something I don't usually do, but it can play nice. Is having slopes running away from a bunker in front of the green. It makes these shots extremely punishing in front of the green, and I'm sure you added these two to add some more movement in the green up here. But usually it's just better to keep it kind of smooth on the front edge of the green like that instead of having a bunch of movement, because it also makes it to where any shots that are coming into a pin, really, like if I'm going to land coming into this pin, if I was to land, say right here, it's either going to kick me really hard that way or really hard that way, and I only have like a couple yards right here in between those two ways. It's just I don't know, it's just a little thing. Nothing really big.
Ooh, can we get a bounce to the right, please?
A bad shot.
Okay, on the green safely. This one's 17 feet.
A little bit downhill.
Oh.
Yeah, man, these greens fast, fast.
Looking good. Nice.
Making your greens fast is a very easy way now to make your course a lot harder.
Okay, 1 over
It's
on
just
the
you have to
round
be
turn.
very careful with it.
And now we're teeing up on the 4th.
This is the first kind of odd looking fairway line I've seen. So the fairway is a little bit odd looking. This is why I usually don't go with the natural design, because it is very hard to get right. Because it seems like with my drives up here, I think you do want this to be a catch. I think that's what you were aiming for, and have your main landing zone up here. I just always hate how jagged it looks. But if it's the style you're going for, as I said, it's perfectly fine. The one thing I was going to point out, though, is this line on the left edge right here is I would keep it a little bit more consistent, because all your other lines have been very consistent in terms of small, smooth curves, and now you've got a bunch of sharper, more jagged curves over here. But that's just a small little thing. In terms of separating the two fairways, I do like this. Maybe would have added a little bit more in here to kind of make it a little bit more of a dangerous waste area. It's not bad. I like it.
Really nice swing.
I guess I didn't really mention those two bunkers way back there. Those two bunkers don't come into play at all. I didn't really look and see if they were visual bunkers.
From above the green.
But if they're visual bunkers, those are perfectly fine. Got another huge slope here. I like this slope on a long par 4. I think on a long par 4, this slope right here is awesome. But with how short this one is playing, I don't think the slope... I mean, it serves a purpose of deflecting balls off, but on a longer hole, it would be a great shot because you could land in here and have it run up on. I don't think you could have that happen with these shorter wedges. Here's the green. Keeping up with the bunch of movement on the greens. Seems like we've actually got 4 pinnable areas here. We got one up here, one here, maybe one right in here, and one back here. Not a bad green at all. Do you like your bunkers? It's just, I feel like when you put them up against slopes like this, the bottoms need to be a little bit bigger. As I said, you could get a kick off of this and have it roll straight through on both of these, I'm pretty sure. In terms of the green, I like the green. A little bit of an awkward shot. And those fast greens coming right back in,
Well, they can't hit all
taking me
three.
all the way off the front.
This is what our third shot's looking like.
I do like that your greens have very consistent movements.
And
There aren't
this one.
any areas like everything's going left here. I see a lot of courses where they'll have some going left, a little bit going right, some more going left over here. It's nice that everything's kind of consistent on these greens.
Looking pretty good.
Ooh, a little low.
Ah, denied. Here's a bogey putt.
Back to 2 over.
And right now you're just 2 strokes above par.
You have a feeling I'm not going to shoot under par with these greens. Smaller green here. Smallest green we've seen so far. Shorter length. Haven't really noticed these too much, but I guess this is your form of cart path slash walk path going all the way through. See how it actually looks on here. Yeah, the one thing, I guess I didn't really see it. You usually do want to have these connected back to your last hole. It just shows some routing, that you actually did put some thought into the routing. When you just have them start right next to the tee box, for the golfer, it's not something you're going to see. But for someone who's actually looking at the course from above, it's pretty glaring. It seemed like you did a very nice job at presenting the course for the golfer. A lot of the stuff off of the course is the stuff that isn't done as well. Which, I mean, isn't bad because, as I said, most players aren't going to see that type of stuff.
Your approach is heading a little leftward.
It's just when you have other designers look at it, it's when it gets noticed.
Well, you missed the approach. I'm not disappointed in you in any way. Just want you to know that.
I'm loving the theme of the course so far. Keep on rolling.
Onto the green now. And
Dang, that was all uphill too.
that's sand
That
behind
thing
it.
just kept on going.
6 feet to the cup.
Oh,
Okay, this one's for the double bogey. 4 over par for the day. And here we go, par 5.
I like this. I always like uh, multiple bunkers on the inside like this. Now, the one thing I would be careful about, this is a great hole if you bump this tee box back like another 20, 30 yards. Because in the new game, I don't know if you made this in the new or the old game, but in the new one, you can hit over this so easy. In the old game, you'd probably be landing back here all the time, contending with these bunkers. But now, even for me, I'm not the longest hitter in the game. I can get over it fairly easy. As long as I hit a good shot, of course.
Whoa, came on to that
It's
one.
just this is a great feature to play and force your players to play around. It's just if they can drive over it, then there's no point. I like this visual bunker right here. Very nice, right on this little
Second
slope.
shot on
Even if it's not one that's going to be hit into really ever. I do really like that. Got some big rock cliffs down here. I'm wondering if that's out of bounds. Some of it is out of bounds, not all of it. Now, where is that out of bounds line? Is it marked? Or is it just kind of up for grabs down here? Yeah, it seems like it's just kind of up for grabs. Be careful with that. If you're going to do out of bounds lines, they need to be fairly well marked. Because, I mean, I don't know if this is out of bounds or this is, or what. Just making your out of bounds lines a little clearer. Again, we got some huge slopes. This one's very severe. It is a par 5, so I do understand having it like big slopes that kind of feed your ball onto the green. I just feel like everything's just a little too big. As I said again, with these fast greens, even without the fast greens, this one there's just a little bit too much movement on this green. You've got two pinnable locations on this giant green right here. Like if say if I'm right here, if I were to chip a shot and miss down to right here, I think I'm all the way down here. Like I think I'm gone. I'm pretty sure with these yellows and this big funnel, I think I'm all the way down here at the bottom of the green. I think this green just needs some more pin locations and less movement. Like it's fine to have your players miss, but I think if they're missing up here and they're rolling down here, that's something you got to be careful of. All right, let's try to smack one down the funnel if it's there. Might as well use it. Very fun feature though. It's just not very realistic. Ooh, barely got on. Let's see, is that going to take us all the way down? It does. All the way down to the bottom.
All right, on the green and under regulation. You got a putt for
And
eagle.
I was looking at this from the fairway down there.
Here is your eagle.
This is something you need to be careful of. If you're going to add a knoll like this, a big like mound, you need to make sure your players can't sit on the top up here. Because if I'm trying to hit into this from the fairway and my ball gets stuck up here, that is very frustrating because I hit the ball where I was meant to. It stayed on the green. It should have taken the mound down. But if my ball can stay on this big area up here, it's just a small little thing. All you got to do is raise this just a little more and you can get every ball to feed off of it. All right, let's see how we're going to miss this putt.
Ouch,
Dang,
right by the
so much
hole.
break.
All right, that putt'll go. Currently sitting at 3 over par.
Yeah, this is the drivable par 4 I was looking at. Smaller green, which is perfectly fine since it's a short par 4. You usually want your greens a little bit more difficult on a short par 4. I like that all this is like a big catch. It's like a big mound back here, kind of wrapping things into the green. I like these two bunkers here. Again, the same thing as I've been talking with the other bunkers. Like this one right here may need a little bit more space for the balls to catch in because I feel like a lot of balls are just going to end up on this finger right here. This one looks fine. I think it's when you do bunkers like this that you're having a little bit more issue with that because this finger comes from the bottom in and it's kind of sitting in the center of the bunker like this. Yeah. All right. Let's see about our layup shot. Layup shot's not bad. Yeah, let's just smash one on up there.
Yes, that's a good swing.
Yeah, no major complaints here on this hole. I like how you're playing with your fairways a lot, allowing your fairways to move the golf balls around. Because a lot of designers will do a little bit too flat fairways where it's kind of just you hit it in the fairway and you're gonna be in the fairway. It's nice to have it to where you actually have to think about your shots even when you're hitting in the fairway.
You might be on
And we
your
made a
way to quite
putt.
a little streak here. 2 birdies in a row.
2 birdies in a row. Got a cliffside hole. I like how you brought this little kind of depression into the hole. I'm wondering about this right here. This just seems too risky for a player to even think about hitting to, since everything's just feeding into this bunker anyway. It really feels like there's no need for the player to ever hit up here. In terms of visual, it is nice, but I think maybe allowing this to be a little bit flatter to accept more golf balls would be nice. I know everybody's kind of flying past that right now. Also, I do feel like this would be a great hole to have your drivers landing right here. If you were to have your drivers landing right around here, this would be great because even if you are a longer hitter landing right here, you do have to contend with this whole depression here that everything's feeding into. Maybe just bump the tee back a little bit and flatten that a little bit. I think this would be a perfect little hole right here. A little underpowered. Should be just fine.
This is right on the border. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just
if
feel
this
like I'm
is
hitting it
right
a little too
fairway.
far up this hole.
All right, second shot on the 8th.
Again, we just got a lot of movement in this green. Like, a lot of movement. Too much movement. Way too much movement. Wow. That's incredible. So it looks like we've got a pin position here, here, and over here. And we've got, looks like another possible 2 up here on the top. I don't really think you pinned that, though. I think this is your other pin position. Yeah, just way too much movement. You've got this huge green here, and maybe 20% of it can have a pin on it. Maybe not even that much, maybe 10%, because you can't pin anywhere next to any of these slopes. It has to be right here in the center of all of these. Yeah, we saw this on that par 5 as well, where there's just no pinnable area, and there's just so much movement in the green. I think if your greens were on a slower green speed, it might be acceptable, but even still, this green is just too much. There's just too much going on here. I wanted to say this from back in the fairway. I like this bunker down here. I like this little catch bunker. Same thing again. I just feel like balls are going to end up on top of this every single time. Shots rolling down into here. And I feel like this bunker would be nice to have it encapsulate a lot of this. Just a little bigger, I feel like would be a very nice bunker. But I like the whole location right up here on the top of a cliff looking out over the ocean. Oh, almost knocked it right in.
Having that. Good work out there today. That's your 4th birdie so far. And you're sitting at 1 over par at the moment.
All right, now we're coming up to our long par 3. These are always very hard to get right, especially if you're doing them uphill. Any uphill par 3 is very difficult. This will be the last time I mention it, but as I said, I don't really like these down here. I think they're gonna allow a lot of golf balls to rest on them when you just want the player to actually end up in the bunker. But I'll rest my case on that. In terms of the green up here, uh, this is something that I've learned recently. You want to avoid as much as you can having a downslope feed into another downslope like this, especially in this new game, and especially if they're going to be huge red slopes. Even yellow slopes stacked like this are really bad. Having big red ones like this makes this an absolute monster of a pin location up here. It just makes it almost too unfair to the players now, because if you're anywhere above like this line right here, chipping down to this is almost impossible to get anything to stop, because everything's just going to kick down and off the front of the green. Which I understand you want to have like you want to make your players miss in certain areas, but this isn't the way to do it. It just makes your players very frustrated when they're playing, because you don't want to miss 5 yards over here and then have an impossible putt back down, and then all of a sudden this is turning into a bogey or a double bogey when you hit a decent shot into the green. In terms of this whole area over here, though, keeping out this, I like the rest of this green. This big little catch on the back, this little catch on the front, that's going to allow shots to bounce in a little softer. I would have flattened this a little more to make a pin location a little bit flatter up there, but I think that's still fine to pin. Alright, this is going to be a tough one to try to work in there with this slope. Not bad, it's going to miss a little right. Oh! Just a little right.
Good job.
Now we got another absolute screamer downhill. With these fast greens, even a small green slope like this, man, it just takes your ball so fast. You gotta hit it so soft.
5-foot putt here. There we go. In there with a par.
And we're done with the first 9.
You're
One over.
at the moment. All right, time to attack this back.
All right.
Up on hole number 10.
Got another one of these little depression inlets, completely different than the last. It's nice to have them be different if you're going to use the same, like, quote-unquote feature twice. It's nice that this one's a lot bigger and it's got a bunch of grass in here and it feeds into this big old valley. Let me actually see. I'm curious if there's any out of bounds. There is none. Yeah, it seems like this is just kind of a smack it away hole. Again, the same thing. I feel like you made this course in 2K21 just because I am blasting some of these shots over. I feel like I shouldn't be able to hit my drive and land it down into here. I feel like the furthest I should be able to hit my drive is maybe right here. I feel like if you bump this tee back another 20, 30 yards, it would really bring this into play. Because you don't want to put a bunch of time and work into a feature and not really have it be too much in play. I just had a terrible shot there, too. Right into it. But a lot of the longer hitters won't even have to really contend with that at all unless they hit a bad shot. And I'm going to end up right in the sand.
A little off on that approach, but that's okay.
See, we got... Looks like 3... Looks like you'd make 4 pins out of this. Smaller green here. Got 1 pin here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. I feel like this is a little too aggressive. Same thing as I was saying with the stacked slope. You got stacked slopes here. And this is a very small area for a pin to be with these stacked slopes like this. Very small. I feel like if you made this area a little bit flatter, made this a little bit bigger, this would be a very nice green right here. I just feel like this slope in the front is just a little bit too much. A nice rollback and into the hole. How about that? What a shot.
And we're gonna fire up a replay after that one.
Fire up the replay. See what John has to show us. Actually, kind of curious to see what that did. Came all the way up. I want to look at you. I didn't get to see most of the replay because I was looking at the woman.
Good job. Scores
That was a good
come
shot.
down to even par. All right, put this one out in the fairway.
Ooh, I like this. I don't think we've had a rising tee shot yet. It's nice that you brought this bunker into play. It seems like it might be the same issue again, though, where I might just be able to drive over this. I feel like with a good shot, I get over this every time. I feel like I'm going to land up here. And I know the longer drivers are definitely going to be able to clear this. Great hole. I think it's the same thing. Might need to knock your tees back just a hair on this one. Oh, that was well under power. That's going. Oh, that might actually clear it. Yeah, 97% cleared it by a mile. Yeah, bumping the tee back there is probably a necessity. Let's see. Yeah, this is I know I said I was going to stop talking about these. This isn't really about that. See how you've got this big slope here, and this bunker is just all sloped down to this. There's nothing to stop this ball in the sand. It's probably going to roll down over here. Let's see if it kind of does the same. This one's a little bit better. This one's a little bit flatter. I still feel like a shot could definitely kick down and into the rough, though. And that doesn't always mean you have to make your bunkers bigger, per se. You could also just raise this bottom edge a little bit down here to allow the balls to catch in here a little bit better. Instead of having it roll down and kind of flatten out and run out, you have it come down and kind of curve back up a little bit to keep the balls inside the bunker. So you don't necessarily have to change the shape or size of your bunkers. It's just a little bit of sculpting on the bottom. Raising these edges would go a long way. Let's see about the green here. Got a massive green here. I feel like the green sizes have been a little bit all over the place. We've had a lot of massive greens and we've had a lot of tiny greens. I feel like keeping them semi-consistent would help. I know it's okay to have some variety, but if you're going to have half of them be huge and half of them be small, it seems a little out of place. In terms of this green, it's not bad because of how big it is. These big slopes up here are perfectly fine because you've got enough pinnable area up here in this and back here. It looks like you could slap 2 pins back here and 2 up here. All right, let's just hit a shot up here.
Ooh, this one might be
A little long.
And in the end, I may have overblown things. You ended up on the green.
Oh God, this thing's just gonna roll and roll. Not bad. Best I could do.
For the par. And after that one, you'll stay at even par. Here we go.
On to
Now,
hole number 12. This one reminds me a little bit of the last. I think it was the last hole. It was either the last hole or 2 ago where we had a bunker in a similar location going uphill. There's 2 bunkers down here. I think you might be able to reach those with a crush shot. Just a par 5. Got a big catch area. I feel like players are just going to blow it over this, so the bunker doesn't really matter that much. See how that wind holds it up. It might actually hold it up enough.
I think.
It did.
And setting up here in a fairway bunker.
Yeah, I like those bunkers. Bunker placements. Fairway again, this is one of the reasons why I don't like the really jagged looking fairways, because you can do the same like catch areas like this without having the fairways look as jagged as this. Which it is the style that he's been going with over the whole course, so it's not bad.
Okay, way to get out of that bunker. Back in the
See how our green looks.
Okay, third shot.
On a par 4, I wouldn't have this here, but since this is a par 5, I think this is okay. because you're either going to have someone testing a really long shot for a draw into here, or you're going to have someone hitting a shorter shot like me that can get over this. But I feel like on a par 4, this slope wouldn't slide. In terms of the rest of the green, maybe make this a little bit flatter to be able to add a pin up here, because I don't really think this is pinnable the way it is, but I think that's a great pin location. Front of the green, again, we have 2 stacked yellows, so anything past this little spot right here, anything up here is never going to hold. It's going to roll in all the way off the front of the green. Other than that, it's a great idea for your green. Just a little bit of care. The same thing as I was saying earlier, a ball could catch right on the top of this slope, since you can see how the line's not really moving up here at all. Maybe just having it so it's always going to force a shot down. Not bad. Let's see where that rolls. Didn't roll at all.
Fine. And this putt would take you down.
This is going to be a sweeper.
No, that's going right by the hole.
Not bad.
Good stroke in the hole for a par. Here we go now on the 13th.
Alright, coming up to the 13th. Again, we've got this. This is the 3rd time we've seen a bunker right here on this right-hand side tucked in like this. It's a beautiful hole. It's just be careful with repeating the same layout each hole. I do like this one. Everything's feeding really far down here. Last time I'll say it, but the slopes here are a lot. They're a lot to contend with. I feel like it's just a little bit too much going on down there. But I do think this tee box is a lot better positioned. I feel like these are going to come into play a lot more. I still do think the longest hitters can get over that just fine with no problem. So maybe an extra 5-10 yards on that tee box. But you got to keep in mind the longest drivers are hitting their shots around 315, 320. So you have to make your holes around that, kind of. Got a 2-tiered green. See, having, this is how you do, if you're going to have a slope down and then another slope down, this is how you got to have it. You got to have a bigger zone like this to catch balls. Because you don't want a player up here that puts down this and has it go all the way off. It's fine now because they're up here. They're going to be able to hold this putt most likely and keep it somewhere up here. Do like the green. I like how this bunker contours nice with this green. I feel like we haven't seen a lot of bunker contouring with the course. Like this one's nice contoured as well. It's contoured very cleanly with the fairway edge right here. I don't know, maybe I've just been missing it, but I don't think I've seen a bunch contoured really nice like that. Might just be blowing over it though. Get a big swooper in there.
Heading for the green.
Be a little strong.
And
Bad.
I guess it turns out you will end up in the rough on that one.
This is going to be a hard shot to hold. Anything up here above is going to be really hard to hold with this slope. Hell, I'm going to do it just out of curiosity. I want to see if a shot coming into the slope is going to roll all the way off the green. Let's power that a little bit stronger. It's not coming with a lot of speed. And it goes well off. Yeah, I think with the green speeds a little slower, that's perfectly fine. But I think with these green speeds being on fast, I didn't really notice that there's a big yellow right here as well that's still carrying shots. So I don't think anything from up here is ever going to hold putting down. Maybe if you barely inch it, it'll hold on the edge. But I feel like all you got to do really is make this slope a little bit less severe, and this green's perfectly fine. That's not making it up that.
Okay, we could save par here with this putt.
Save par with this. Not even close.
All right, setting up 6 feet from the cup.
Oh.
And we're ending this hole with
The
a
double
bogey.
bogey in the name of testing.
And here comes hole number 14 at us.
Let's see, we've got to have some out of bounds here. No out of bounds. Oh, yeah, you definitely want some out of bounds back here. Because if a player misses this by 5 yards over, they could end up down there or anywhere over here, and that's an almost impossible shot. You don't want to have your players end up down there because you have to. I know you can just say players can play unplayable lies, like take an unplayable, but you have to imagine like every player's not smart enough to find that button. That's the way that I think about it, because a lot of players, they're going to hit their shot down there and they're just going to keep playing. They're not going to take an unplayable. They're just going to keep hitting their shot. In terms of this green, again, maybe a little bit too much movement on this green. Like, if I'm going to try to use this helper slope for any pin location down here, it's going to take me way down here. It may even take me down to the bottom because of these green speeds. So yeah, anything like, it's nice to have a feeding fairway onto your green, but if this is going to feed me onto the green and then all the way down to the bottom, it's a little bit too severe. Ooh, that's awful. That might be exactly where I was talking about.
Looks like this one's going left.
Ooh, not all the way down there. See, even this down here, this you even may want to make out of bounds because this is a shot down here. This isn't really something you want to make your players hit. I can still make it up though. A little help off of the slope.
And here we go. Par putt coming up.
Big downhill putt again. A lot of these so far. They just keep running.
And 5 feet left to go.
Terrible putt.
Let's get going. Give this a tap and we'll move on. And that's 4 over.
All right. One thing I haven't really noticed, there is, I think I was talking about it earlier, there's a little bit of like mulch on the course earlier, wasn't there? That was like a cart path. I'm pretty sure there was. And it's just kind of seems to have disappeared on us as we've gone later into the course. Again, a nice hole here, but I think anyone playing this hole is going to be able to get over this just fine. Bumping your tee box back another 10 yards, bring these into play a lot more, maybe 20 yards. Nice shot. Yeah, that was a 98% right there, and that cleared both of the bunkers just fine. It is a par 4, and making players hit way back there would turn this into a really long hole. But this green's actually pretty well set up for long shots. Pretty well set up in general. I like this one. There's not a whole bunch of big slopes. Your big slopes are on the edges of the green, so you still got a big pinnable spot here, maybe a pin here, and it looks like probably 2 pins in the back. There's some movement right here. I would maybe exaggerate this movement a little bit more to kind of separate your 2 tiers a little bit. Or you could even depress it. It's just right now, it's almost like a hidden slope in the green. This whole little yellow spot right here. It's not bad. I like the green. I like the green location as well. Tucked up here in all these trees. Kind of got the fairway sloping around. Real nice look. That yellow slope has fed us down to the middle.
This could be a birdie on the scorecard.
A lot of movement here. I don't think I saw quite how much movement there was. This is a huge breaker.
so
Not
close.
bad. It's still green, so it's still all playable.
Currently sitting at 4 over par.
Another
We'll see
beautiful
what
green
happens here on the
location.
16th.
Your scenery on the course so far has been beautiful. You've done a nice job with giving us good hole locations and very nice scenic views. Even with, I mean, you definitely did some planting, but overall it looks fairly minimal. There's just some trees scattered, some rocks scattered, and a few little areas of bushes. But the minimalistic look seems to have worked very nice. Now, there's not a lot of grass on this hole at all. I don't know, one little thing I may have done if I were to do it is I would have wrapped my heavy rough all the way around. But if you were going to have your heavy rough or have your bunkers bleed in and kind of blend in like this, it's fine. But I think most of our other bunkers in the course have been kind of surrounded. I may be wrong with that. In terms of our green here, I don't like this being up like this. It is a really short hole, but it is just a little bit too small of a landing area. You see how everything past this point just feeds down that way? It doesn't really feed to so much of a collection area. It kind of just feeds into this awkward little fringe chip. If you had a little bit more green down here, or maybe if you turn this into fairway over here, so they would all run off into the fairway, force players into either a chip or a putt, not kind of like you don't know which one they're going to end up. They may be putting, they may be chipping, they may even roll into the heavy. I think if you just, instead of having this be a mound, you brought this down into the ground, so just have this be a bowl instead. I think that would have been a really nice pin location like that. And this little knoll, this is something I was talking about earlier, having hills like this on par threes, or really any hole in general, because you're kind of blocking a little bit of the view like this, and you're just making a super difficult shot for any player. It is a little bit more acceptable here because it is a shorter hole, but this is just a very tight spot to have to land a shot in. And realistically, if I'm trying to hit a shot into this green, and this is a fast green, the best I can do is land it right here. And even still, I think I'm going past the hole over to here somewhere. I don't think there's really any way I could get this close to the hole with how tight this is. Slap one down there. Right in the middle.
26 feet to the cup.
Curvy putt here. A little soft. Actually ended up just fine.
Wanted you to have that one. Wanted you to have it. All right.
Alright, hole number 17. Yeah, and we got the same bunkers right here kind of jutting into the fairway as we've seen. I think this is like our fourth or fifth time seeing bunkers almost exactly like this. I mean, it's a beautiful hole look. It's just, as I said, be careful with reusing the same layout multiple times. I know the holes are all slightly different, but all the bunkers are basically in the same spot for all those holes. I do like this down here. I wish you would have used something like this more on the course, because I think this would have fit your style very nice out here. Would have liked to see that on some of the previous holes. In terms of your distance of driving, same thing. Everybody's drives are just flying these now in the new game. I don't even have to contend with those bunkers. You can just hit it down here, no problem.
Here we go.
Turns into a very short hole too for a par 5 with all that downslope. Green. Again, there's just too much movement on this green. We got downslope and a downslope. It looks like a pin location up here would have been very nice. We got a awkward little bowl slash funnel right here running all the way up. If you're going to have a downslope, you might as well just have them come off the green and not have something kind of hold them into this weird little funnel. Seems like the bowl would be down here, kind of. It's kind of just a edge of the green funnel. Top of the green up here. I liked what you were going for. I just would have made this a little bit bigger, this zone right here. And as I was talking earlier, you got a little flat spot up here on top of this little hill. It's just nice to keep the consistent movement on the green. In terms of everything else, I like the green idea. Bunkers, again, very nice contoured with the green right here. It's harder to contour the bunkers with the style you're using too, because you're going for a jagged bunker style, and contouring requires it to be fairly straight. Yeah, I went right down into that little funnel I was talking about. That probably eats up a good bit of shots.
Here's a putt for eagle. Careful.
Long putt here. I don't even know if I'm making it there. Nope.
This one's 7 feet away. Oh no, it's right.
Ooh, just barely.
Oh, just a tap in here. Okay.
And coming down to hole number 18.
And the headwind is definitely a thing.
It's always nice to see a finishing hole that is in a great location. Your finishing hole has to be one of your standout holes. Even number 9 should be one of your standout holes. I like it how it's all here on the cliff edge. This huge view out to the ocean. And it's a fairly challenging hole too with the distance. See this bunker, it isn't the same placement again, but I can't really complain too much about it because this hole is so different than what we've seen so far. Because you can't fly this bunker safely. This bunker, if you're flying it, it's still going to feed you over towards this cliff edge. And even laying up over here is kind of dangerous. But you need a longer shot on this hole still. But I'm going to try to fly it anyway. See what happens to our shot. Wind's holding it up pretty strong. Big kick down here.
We'll have that.
And we have a very short second shot in.
Yards to the pin.
Again, just way too much movement on the green. You got downslope into downslope into downslope here. Actually, 4 downslopes on this one. You could probably, in the right circumstance, you could definitely hit a ball onto the green right here and have it roll all the way down and off this edge. It'd probably feed off here or there, but there's just a little bit too much movement going on here. I think if your tiers were a little bit less sloped on this course and your green speeds were a little bit slower, the greens out here would be very nice.
Yeah, we'll take that. This would take your score.
But in terms of the whole course, just keep in mind a couple of things I said for the greens, and a couple of things I said for the bunkers. Other than that, your decorations and everything were beautiful. The course looks awesome. I don't like the fairway style, but that's just my personal opinion. I know other people like the wavy fairways like that. But in terms of everything there, keep it up. It's looking really nice. And as I always say, if anybody has any courses they want me to review, just let me know down in the comments, whether it's your course or a cool course you found. And I think that's it. Talk to you guys next time.